of the Women's Ordination Conference, and I'm here to break the silence on women's ordination in the Catholic Church. Today is the World Day of Prayer for Women's Ordination, and we are lifting the voices of Catholics from around the world who are calling for women's full inclusion, women's full dignity within the Church. We urge the Vatican to listen to this message and to respond to us by creating this full dignity and equality for women. We urge them to ordain women now. Since the first Women's Ordination Conference in 1975, Women's Ordination Conference members have worked not only for women priests, but also for structural change in the Church. That's right, we don't want to just add women and stir. We want to create new, inclusive, and accountable structures that are healthy for all. Our mission is to advocate and pray for the ordination of women and to create this inclusive and accountable church we're talking about. All Catholics should have a say in the decisions that affect them. For too long, the all-male, celibate, and ordained clergy have tried to dictate how Catholics worship and how they pray and how they make decisions. This must change. In 1976, the Pope's own biblical commission found no reason in the Bible to prohibit women's ordination. The Vatican ignored this, as we know, and in 1994, Pope John Paul II reiterated this stance and closed official discussion. People have been fired from the Church for simply bringing up the issue of women's ordination. And that's why we're breaking the silence today. The Vatican's view is that the women are equal to, but different than men. This equal but different policy results in terrible injustices against women. I've heard countless stories of women who are called to ordination. They have a deep spiritual call from God and from their community to serve their community. But many of these women have fulfilled their call by working for the Church as pastoral administrators, and a priest, this has often happened, a priest has come in and said, I don't want women doing that, and just fired them summarily, and the priest has the power to do this. This is where the rubber hits the road. This is why it's so important for women to be fully included in the Church. Ordination is a requirement for most church governance positions, and only male can be ordained. Therefore, women are excluded from most decision-making positions within the Church. We are treated second-class. We are treated as second-class citizens within our own spiritual home. As we know, the ban on women's ordination is a blatant example of sexism. And what is worse, the Vatican says this is sanctioned by God. The Vatican has enormous cultural and political influence with a seat at the United Nations and the ability to meet nearly at whim with many powerful heads of state. This influence has a devastating impact on women's issues and on both a cultural level and a public policy level. It's long overdue for the Vatican to use all of its resources. While Pope Benedict calls for a deeper commitment to women's dignity, women suffer from many injustices at the hands of the hierarchy. When it comes to the way that women are treated in the Church, the Vatican is only paying lip service to women's equality. The ban on priests is the most consistent example of the hierarchy's hypocrisy. Today, we are breaking the silence and shattering the stained glass ceiling. We urge Pope Benedict to open discussion on women's ordination and to deepen his own commitment to women's full justice and equality within the Church. The best place to start is within the hierarchy of the Catholic Church.
I'm Erin Saiz Hanna, and today we are breaking the silence and asking for equality and justice.
Right.
We are breaking the silence for Ruth in Wisconsin, who this month, after 10 years in her parish, was fired by her bishop for her thesis on inclusive feminist language. The Catholic Church, which prides itself on social justice, I ask you all, was that just?
No!
We are breaking the silence for the over 60 Roman Catholic women priests who answered their prophetic call and were excommunicated on the Feast of Joan of Arc last May. Were these excommunications just?
No!
We are breaking silence for the and were told they could no longer serve on the altar while their brothers continued to serve. I ask you, is this just?
No!
We are breaking the silence for Father Roy Bourgeois, who stood in his belief that sexism is a sin and stood by and helped ordain a Roman Catholic woman priest and is now facing excommunication. Is this excommunication just?
No!
We are breaking the silence for the young girl in Brazil and her mother and doctors who, when faced with horrible family problems, were then excommunicated by their local bishop and seconded by the Vatican. I ask you, was this just?
No!
Friends, today we are breaking the glass ceiling, shattering the stained glass ceiling, and we are breaking the silence. Thank you for joining us. Maybe we can